What's up, guys? Welcome back to another TENFITMEN live stream. And today's February 11th, and I am in Shanghai, China at the moment. It's not an easy period, but we are staying strong and just following our regular daily routines as much as we can. Even though today I'm a little bit more limited, it's bad weather outside, and of course all the facilities are closed. We cannot train indoors. So now it's raining and it's not the nicest weather, but that's opening some other opportunities, and I have a bit more time. I can do a little bit more and make more content for you guys. And today I'm planning to finish the second part of my training with Novak Djokovic. And I also wanted to make one live stream as I'm doing right now. And I hope some of you will join, and you're very welcome to ask any questions on this live chat. I'm always very happy to answer. But I also prepared some topics that I would like to cover, and maybe you could see in the title of this live stream. And some of them will be, I will just briefly go through them, and then I can, go topic by topic. There are three topics, kind of interrelated, and I think they are very interested. Hopefully it will be also interesting for you to hear about it, to listen. Maybe you learn something new, and definitely you're, again, very welcome to drop any question during this live. I will also try to keep track of your questions, and maybe I can answer as I'm covering the topics. And so the first topic will be effort and winning, and how the two are connected or related. And this is, I got inspired when I watched one of the speeches from Nick Bollettieri, one of the most famous tennis coaches, who developed these amazing academies and the chain of academies, now also known as IMG. And he was talking about some very interesting things, some concepts. I really found that quite amusing and worthwhile for topic like this to cover. The second topic I would like to cover is being a good coach and then having a good player, and how those two are also related, connected, and what is the final effect. And I will get more into details after. I think this is very fascinating. I talked about this yesterday with one of my tennis friends here in Shanghai. We had a nice lunch, and then it was very interesting talk. And the third one that I'm excited about, it's Djokovic and his childhood. I also watched some interviews from his father. He talked about their struggles when he was very young and all the sacrifices they made in order to become what he is today. But I want to make a little comparison there, not just with myself, but with thousands of other players who went through the similar route. And this is something also interesting to mention and to discuss, because I think a lot of people out there who are into tennis and are tennis fans and maybe have some ambitions, they are not aware of all the things and how much effort it takes. And so I think it's also interesting to cover that. And again, welcome back to another live stream. Thank you everyone for joining. I see not too many of you at the moment. Hopefully we'll get more viewers as we move on. I was thinking to try this time, and I still don't know when is the best timing for these live streams, because here in China now is 10:30 a.m. I know in US now is evening, depends on the location. I know at East, let's say New York, now it should be 9:30 p.m. And then as you move towards West, it's a bit earlier. in the evening. So I thought maybe it's a good time. I know most of my viewers, percentage wise, are from US. And now in Europe it's quite early, so probably not many people from Europe. Maybe Asia, still possible, and also Australia. So let me know where you're all from. That would be also great. I really like to hear about that. And I can see that we already have questions. So now I'm a little bit having dilemma. Should I start answering the questions or go into these topics? You can also let me know. I just want to check what are the questions about. Experience Auburn, like it's a bit not related. I like the thanks, Neil. I like the question. It's something I always like to talk about. I wish I could hit with you once. Yeah, for sure. Hitting is definitely possible if we can meet at some point. What would you say is the best way to practice? It's so you guys let me know. You prefer me to go into the topics? Hello, Livia. What's up? Do you prefer me to go into these three topics, or should I answer a couple of questions here? If I start to do so, it's going to be very tough to cover the topics, but I'm here for you. So I would like to do as you wish. I know it always feels good if you can get an answer. So do the topics. Okay, the first one, Liam. What's up, Liam? So happy to have you again here. So let's vote. Let's say, if I get at least 5 yeses to go for the topics, I'll start. Okay, the second yes, go for the topics. Meanwhile, I can answer some questions. Who was the nicest tour pro you have hit with? It's tough to say at the spot. You got me on the spot. Roberto Bautista Gut, amazing, so humble, so friendly. Yes. Okay, we got more yeses. And okay, I see Livia working at home, always hard worker. Keep going. All right, so I can go into topics, and hopefully later some of you still stick around. You can ask me some questions. By the way, I think I can check this live after, and then I can also answer you in the comments below, something like this, because then we will skip. Anyways, so the first topic, it's about this Nick Bollettieri's speech, and he was giving very funny and, as I mentioned, interesting speech, and the audience was getting engaged. It was actually quite a large audience. He made it a little bit different, not the usual speech or presentation that you might see in tennis world. And what he talked about, as I mentioned, effort and winning. I found it a little bit contradictory, so this is why I also wanted to discuss. What he said is that nowadays many parents and coaches are making huge mistake because what they ask their players or their children, it's how did you do today in terms of, let's say, if it's a parent asking for a kid, how was it school? Did you get any good grades? Or if it's a tennis player, did you win today? So he was saying that basically they're asking for what was the final result, whereas everything should be judged based upon the effort. So he said they should ask, or they should approach, did you give everything you had, or did you listen to your teachers and did everything they told you to do? So in the first part of his talk, he was mentioning this, how everything is just about effort. If you give your best, if you put 100%, the outcome is irrelevant. And this is what I really support. So it's not about the final thing that comes at the end, the results. You need to focus on the process, and this is the best thing. Like at the moment, that's another thing. If you look at what will happen, or if that's your only interest, you will not be present. You will not be focused on what's happening now. And also it's a wrong thing to keep in mind. So I support this kind of approach that it's all about the effort. Everybody should be judged based on effort, how much effort you put in. But then, so this is something I'm sure most of you understand. But then at the end, towards the end of the talk, maybe I can link below this very interesting video, so you can also watch. You can learn a lot there. But in the end, he was talking about, let's say, if somebody joining his team as a player or as a coach, whatever, he would say, if you tell me, okay, I will give my best. Or if he says, are we going to win today? And then you say, I will give my best. You would first think that's the right answer, or that's the right approach. If you give your best, that means you will put all the effort you have, right? So I believe it should be okay. It should be the right thing, the right direction. But then he said, if that's the case, if you tell me you will do your best, that already means you are okay with the second place. So you will not get on my team, he said. So you need to say, I'm going out there to win. And then I was a little bit confused. In the first part, he was talking about effort. Now here, it was not enough to say, I will do my best. No, you need to go out there to win, which kind of shows that the importance of the end results or the winning. So this where I got a little bit stuck, and I wanted to discuss a bit about this. I think it's quite interesting because it's not some random person or random coach. It's one of the best ever coaches in the world. I think he coached 10 world number ones, and it's very interesting to listen to somebody like this. But the way I understood this concept is that, of course, the effort is number one. You have to put all the effort. You have to give your best. And this is definitely a big plus. And if people see it, or for yourself, if you know you give your best, you put all the effort, you should feel okay. You should not feel disappointed. But the second part, for going out there to win, I think it's more for mental approach. Mental approach, so that, of course, the giving effort is always there. And then you have the mental approach and this mindset that you're going out there to win. It's more like believing that you will win. So I think it's more like, having this winning mindset, or the champion's mindset. And now I don't know what you think about. I hope I managed to share it in a way that you can understand where was the contradictory there. Okay, let me check if some of you talked about this specific thing, and then I might move to the next one, because I really don't want to make it too long, and I also want to interact a bit. I don't want it to make it like just one way. This is the point of this thing. Okay, there's some random questions. Only control. Agree, you can only control the effort but not the result. Exactly. Again, what he said about winning, it's probably more for the mindset. You win in the training, not when you lift the trophy. That's a great way to put it. I like that. How you can mentally strong positive during match. I'm biggest telling myself. Exactly, I know. This is what we're also talking about. It's about believing that you can win, and this is not so easy to accomplish. I think it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of positive thinking, and definitely being in a good environment. I am number one in my state. Wow, that's amazing. Congrats. How old are you? Do you ever get to wrist pain? When do you do a relief? How old are you? Okay. So the wrist pain, yeah, definitely. I think if you just got this injury, and definitely rest. How do you refocus when you lose focus? Okay, so we're getting some different questions. I will just try to be what is the mindset of the top players and what you learn from Djokovic? Yeah, there is many questions now coming up. I would like to just go to the next topic. And yeah, this one is also interesting. And please, if you can, bear with me here. We can kind of move together. As I talk, you can also ask something related to the topic. It's a little bit easier. I would really like to answer the other questions, but we might make like a totally different live where I'm just gonna answer all the questions. Yeah, so thanks. I really appreciate everybody joining, and it's very cool. I really enjoy this. So the next topic is having a coach. Let's say you have a good coach, amazing coach, one of the best in the world, and then you have amazing player, like great potential, right? If these two match, most likely you will get a player who will go to the very high level, potentially become one of the top players in the world. This is kind of obvious, right? Now, here is my question and the very, very interesting topic. If you have one of the best coaches in the world, right? And then he gets the player without so much potential, who is definitely hard worker, passionate, and all this, right? How far, and this is very like relative, how far and how good of a player can this player here become, because he's not full of potential like in the previous case, but he still has the best coach, one of the best in the world. So how far can this player go? And then the opposite direction. If you have the player, so I show it like a bigger, right? It's like a player with huge potential, super strong work ethics, the best, the most intense like passion and the drive and everything. And then he gets a coach who is okay, but it's not one of the best. It's just there, has some knowledge, but he has this kind of rough diamond, right? Would he able to push the player all the way up there? So to kind of make it a bit more understanding is like, take for example Rafa Nadal and his coach Tony, who is his uncle. Both of them one of the best in the world. Had Tony had any other player, would he be able to get that player become a top player? Or if Rafa Nadal had any other coach, would he become Rafa, who is today? So this is for me like amazing topic, because you talk about great coaches, but then if they don't get in touch with players with huge potential, how they can actually build the world top player, or the opposite. In my opinion, it has to be a match. Let's see. So fun to watch your path. Wish you luck. Many fields people only care about result. We really care the process, how much effort you put in. If the result is not good. Livia giving some answer or opinion about the previous topic. Yeah, it is. It's a sad truth. People care about results, but it should be opposite. I'll teach a junior player what position in the ball. I think it depends on how much potential the player has and also the compatibility between them. Yes, of course, if they match, if it's a good match, a good chemistry. Like you also saw, Nole, he hired Andre Agassi and even Boris Becker, and it didn't really work out for a longer time. There was no this chemistry there. Of course, the potential is important. I was a prick early on, never again. You're a good guy, I don't know. What is this? Specific drills that fit the players. My coach once told me, you aren't the most talented, but you are the hardest worker. I know, I understand. And this is also where it comes from. Like, so let's say you are the hardest worker. If you get the best coach in the world, and you get all the conditions, is this enough for you to become the world top player? That's the question. The low potential player, great coach, in my opinion. The better comment. The low potential player, great coach. Okay, I like the way you think. So what will be better? Great coach and potential player, like average, or amazing player potential with a coach who is okay? So Joe claims in his opinion it's the coach is more important. So if you have an amazing coach with all the experiences, he would be able to bring the player all the way up. That's interesting. Good coach knows how to bring up the best in the player. That's true. But again, the question is, what if the player doesn't have all of that in him or her? Favorite tennis player? Novak Djokovic. Hvala, brate. Hvala, Mihailo. I think a coach and player have to have a great connection and be able to progressively build upon their game. Yes, definitely connection. We mentioned this. So needs to be a match, chemistry. I think there has to be a certain amount of potential in the player. But if coach is good and drive is there, I think they could have success even with the low potential player. I see, Arman. Thanks for your answer. I kind of agree with this. I like this. So it's very important to have a good mentor, a good guide, somebody who can show you the way. And I think even more important to give you this right mindset. And then if you're a hard worker, you can definitely improve. It's all tennis. It's a skill. It's a skill set, and you learn by time. But there is another thing I will talk about, I think, in the third topic also. It's this part here. It's actually the most important. A great coach helps a great player overcome the illusion of their limits. I like this one. But it kind of goes back. It's in a cycle, right? So you say the great coach helps player overcome illusion of their limits, but what if their limits are just too low or not enough to break into top 100 or top 200? Novak, I think, for Milan. Izvini, brat. How about Kyrgios? Yeah, that's a great question. He's probably the most talented player in the world, and he got to the high level, but had he had all the discipline of Rafa or Djokovic, and definitely the guidance, the mentoring, maybe he's not in a good hands. Maybe if he had somebody like Marian Vaida or any other coach who has this connection and this charm or whatever with the player and karma, how do you call it? Maybe it could bring him even higher, or maybe he needs a little bit more time. You can have the best coach in the world, but if there's no chemistry between them, it's not going to work. I agree. So that's interesting. That's a kind of the third factor. It's not just how good is the player, how good is the coach, but also that chemistry between them. That's great. I like that. Great coach is better because they can get inside their heads and make them unleash full potential. Agree, Alex. Again, what is the full potential? This is also very relative, For Djokovic, full potential is to become the best ever, by far, in history, ever. And then you have some other random player, maybe ranked 300, maybe ranked 300 at the moment, and their full potential might be being number 127. You understand? Thiem and Masu, a great match. I agree. And you can see by the way his game raised in last period when they started working together. I think it's for the past year or something. Talent is very important, I think, because you never see and top players and say they're not talented. Talent is very important. I think you never see top players say. I guess so. So you're saying most of those top players are super talented, but they just don't admit it, or how to say? Need to get my power juice. Amazing, by the way. Today I mixed celery. This is always ingredient I like to put. Pear, carrot, and banana. It's unbelievable. First of all, taste is so good and definitely gives the energy. I don't need a coffee in the morning. That's just this juice. Pozdrav iz Bugarsko. What do you think of Grigor Dimitrov? He seems to have the game, but he lacks the results. What do you think is the problem? Great question, Victor. It really fits into this topic today. Dimitrov, in my opinion, one of the best techniques out there. Physics also unbelievable. I think that he kind of copied, he or his coach, when they were working on the technique, kind of copied Roger Federer, but he's really fit and physically wise, good height, good body, constitution, and definitely he's missing that X factor. And what is that X factor? It's definitely, comes from here and having a belief that you can win in those big matches. Sometimes there are so many players there who are so close to kind of break that, how to call it, like a borderline, or the edge. I think he would need maybe one or two those big matches, big wins, and it can just happen like this. And this happens all the time with the lower ranked players, and it's something that it's also worth talking about. When you reach that point where you kind of have that aha moment, or how do you say, when you realize you can do it, like in any other aspect of life. For a sport like tennis, the coach and chemistry is probably, well, just 1 second, and I'm a little bit behind with the questions. For a sport like tennis, the coach and chemistry is probably more important, but for sport like running potential athletes, maybe more. Yes, I agree, because all the other sports here that you mentioned are more like just physical. Even though I talked with some people who were doing the rowing, you would not think, but it's also a lot of mental toughness there. But definitely tennis is super difficult because you're by yourself there, and everything comes from inside. You're your biggest enemy. The world is littered with super talented players, but without proper coaching, they will never reach their potential. Think Allen Iverson in the NBA or Marcelo Reyes. That's great. I like it. I like the way you put it. And another thing is, super talented, it's not enough, right? You need a guidance, you need a mentor, the coach, but you also need work ethic, because other guys with less talent, they would get better than you. Kyrgios doesn't have a coach. Yeah, I think so. Talent can identify players' potential. Good coach can only allow a player to reach their potential but not exceed it. Therefore, the higher skilled player has the most potential, but the good coaches needed to reach it. Yep. Good coach can allow players to reach their potential, but not exceed it. Yep. You need to have a certain amount of talent, of course. When you are not super talented, you always want to improve. That's true. I know this. And also, you want to improve, not just, it's not only if you're kind of lacking talent, it's also about the personality and the character. I think we would all agree that, let's say, Federer is super talented, but definitely in order to keep up with all these players, upcoming players, and this strong generations, he has to also keep improving. So it's the character, it's the fighter inside, and the will to always get better. I don't think it's just lack of talent. Do you full stretching routine before playing today? Did you full stretching routine? I didn't play today, but I will definitely do some exercise and stretch. 5% talent, 9% hard work. Tesla. Almost. Good numbers. Talent without the right discipline will not go far. Exactly. Do you have any tips, trips? Not yet, but hopefully it will happen this year soon. I see like this. I see like this. Potential is having the right tools for the job. I like this way of putting it. Potential is having the right tools for the job. Coach shows how to do the job right. Yep, I agree with this. And then on top, you need to get this discipline and the work ethic. If the player is lazy, I don't think any coach can make them do it. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 15% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name. Fort Minor. That's awesome. I love this song. Thanks, Anson, for sharing this. It's pretty much it. 10% luck, 20% skill. This is actually the legendary song. The first time I heard it was in US when I played for Auburn University, and we played against Georgia. And guess who played on Georgia's team? The number one position was John Isner. And because they were hosts, they were playing this kind of pump-up songs during the warm-ups. And this song went, I think, 2 or 3 times. One was like regular version, one was a bit modified, and then the third one was just like instrumental or something like this. And then I heard after that this was John's song. John picked this song. So every time I hear the song, I think of John Isner and, you know, the college thing and everything, and after how he became who he is today. So it's good. It's a good song to remember. And that's how I remember the name. Love your channel. Can you please tell us time you had a tough loss and what mentally becoming stronger? Okay, so now we're getting into the bit different topics, but I like your questions, guys. It's really awesome. Would like to answer them. Maybe just this one, because I think I made a podcast on this topic, but I can also answer this quickly. When I had a tough loss and what did mentally to become stronger after that experience? Okay, Steve, thanks for question. So I will share quickly this quick story, the experience. It was not the past summer. The past summer at home, I rolled my ankle. That was also tough, but that loss, you know, after you rolled your ankle, is you kind of accept it. But the year before, so it was 2018 summer, August, and I played qualifying draw in my hometown. I had my whole family watching. It was the second round of qualifying draw. I won the first round. And then this was against a player I know very well. And it's actually my good friend. He's from Macedonia, Stefan Mitsov. He actually played Davis Cup for Macedonia. So he's a great level player, ATP ranked. I actually beat him once before, a couple of years back. It was a very tough match. 2 sets, 7-5. 5-5, very long match and exhausting and, you know, mentally tough. So I approached the match like that. It's going to be a tough one, but I have a chance. And at that moment, I was in decent shape. I was not in the best shape ever, like in terms of playing the tournaments, because I was lacking playing matches. And this is the match, I think I recorded most of it, but I never got a chance to make a video. And it's great that I just remember it. I need to go back and find it, and it will be amazing. I think we played great tennis. And I heard from the people watching after that it was a great match, especially the third set. By the way, this match, I was winning 6-4 and 4-1. And that game I was serving at 4-1, so it was a double break, and I had a game point. And I had some easy ball. I was close to the net, and the ball just bounced on my side, and it was a little bit different bounce because we played on clay. These are not excuses. I'm just saying it's like a fact. And then I missed that ball. Probably if it was a good bounce, I would not miss. It was a little bit off, and then I kind of didn't hit the sweet spot and I missed that ball long, it will be 5-1. It will be 6-4, 5-1. Probably finished. But somehow that game kept going and he broke me there 4-2. He won his serve 4-3. And the things started getting complicated. I didn't change my game too much, but somehow he started playing better. The momentum switched. He ended up winning second set 7-5. And then the third set, it was literally like this. I go up, he comes back. I break, he breaks back. But I was always a little bit ahead. Like, I think I served first, and then I broke him once. He broke back. I think it was also a little bit luck on his side. Again, not excuse. But as I remember, it was 5-4 for me, 30-all, and I do serve and volley. He kind of frames it, half frame, backhand, late shot, like on the deuce side, and it's going like cross. It's going towards my forehand, but it's going kind of wide, right? And I let the ball go because it was like half frame, and the ball lands on the line. So had that gone out, I would have a match point. I would be like serving at 40-30, and match point doesn't mean it will be over. But anyways, 5-4. He hits the line, break point. He breaks back. After that, we entered the tie break, and the tie break was drama, like Thriller. That was also amazing. Yeah, I just remember 5-4. I'm serving tie break. That point made a double fault. That was bad. Yeah, that was bad. I went for first serve, and then second serve, I didn't want to make it in. I think I was going for serve and volley, and I went for a big kick, and I missed, I think, just this much. But then on 5-all, so this, I think it should not happen. At 5-4, make a double fault because I risked it. But then at 5-all, I didn't hold back. I did pretty much same. I served and volleyed, and then I hit some insane shot. I have this somewhere. I need to find this video and I need to bring it up. It's amazing. At 5-all in tiebreak, basically I hit some half volley drop shot, like just over the net, and he jumped there, he slided, at the end he fell and he hit the net. It was like insane. At 5-all, I won that point, and I had the match point. Next point, 6-5. He was serving. I decided to go for the forehand, like to go around. I think he missed the first serve. And then I wanted to go big, but I had a big target. So I went somewhere like down the middle or towards the forehand, but I wanted to go deep and a bit heavy shot, but, bigger target, not too close to sidelines. It was a good return, but he just, went aggressive from the first ball. He just put me wide on the forehand. I had to kind of slide, like he hit a very good forehand. And then he just finished with the volley winner. After that, we changed sides. I think he has a match point. I saved, and then was it like 8-all, and it was the longest rally pretty much the whole match. And he ended up hitting in the corner, like literally in the backhand side. Like this is the baseline, the sideline. He hit like literally in the corner, and at the end he won the match. So you asked me about how I survived after this, and I told you the whole pretty much highlights from the match, but I had to go into it. It's now when I think about it, it's fun to talk about it, but I remember it was so tough. I actually made a video on it. I mean, after the match, couple of days when I recovered, I made a vlog how to recover from a tough loss. So it was tough. It really got me heavy. Like for a few days, I was not in a mood. Even though I was back home, it's always the happiest time for me, but it was so tough to just forget about it. It was really tough because you're so close. By the way, the worst thing is that after that, he won easily in the next round. So he qualified for main draw, and then he won the first round main draw, which means that he got another ATP point. And I didn't want to check the result because I knew I would be even more like angry or disappointed because I missed a chance. But anyways, how to recover? I started thinking in the way like, what can I take from this loss? What would I do different, or is there anything that I should regret? And in the end, I started feeling better because I didn't think there were many things that I could do differently or change. The only thing maybe to try to close that second set. And actually, I talked to him a couple of days after. He asked me to play doubles or something. It was very funny. And then we talked through the messages a bit. He said, man, you should have closed it in the second set. It was almost over. And then I think about it. Yeah, it's 4-1 and you're serving. You cannot drop that lead. And then he also said the third set was 50-50 chances. So, and one of the people, one of the persons who were watching, they said the third set was actually the best level. So nothing to regret there. And then you had a match point. He played aggressive. He got his volley there, and after he played amazing point. So yeah, you just have to move on. You just think about you're gonna have more chances, and it's much easier if you play regular tournaments. In 1 week or 2 weeks, you have a next chance, and then you play again. For me, the bad thing was that I didn't have a tournament for a long time, at least 1 year. So you don't have that opportunity to kind of win, so you can forget about the loss before. I'm sure you all know that if you have one tournament, you have a bad match, you feel so bad, everything becomes dark, you don't want to do anything, you don't feel motivated. But then there's a next tournament, you play good, you win some tough match, like you literally forget. You don't even know what happened last tournament, like, because now this is there. It's the present. It's the freshest thing. So I think that's the best. You go out there, play or train, and start doing things, and definitely learn something from that experience. Wow, that was a bit long answer. Sorry everyone for waiting. But yeah, let me see. Okay, I need to go back through the comments so I can see where I stopped. And okay, here. The Jim plays that song. Yeah. Do you think matches can turn on 3-5 points between a winner? Yes, definitely. Many matches, it's just 1 point difference. How do we define talent in tennis? A good ball sense or ability to pick up the sport fast? Great question. Good ball sense. I would say tennis is quite specific, and it's requiring many different things and many talents. It's not just like good ball sense, like, feeling the ball, being able, like, good coordination, hand-eye coordination with balls, like sports. It's not enough. You need to also be able to make quick decisions and good decisions. You need to have the sense of the court. You need to be able to bring up your best in the most important moments of the match. So you need to have that mental strength. You need to many things. But it's a good question. What's the most important talent there? The ability to pick up the sport fast. Yeah, that's also maybe a good way to pick to phrase it, because if you can pick it up fast, that means you have the sense of the game. You have the sense not just of the ball. But I think between those two, the second is better way to define it, because that means you will be able to understand the game better, quicker, which means you're talented for that. And that means also you are mastering the strokes and the shots technique faster, which is again talent. Federer, Nadal, or Djokovic for sure. Rowing is arguably the hardest sport physically. Why is doing it now? Do not recommend to fellow tennis players. Thanks, Howard, for sharing. IMG Academy. Hey, what's up? How is everything there? You can share something with us, because we just mentioned Nick Bollettieri in the beginning and some of his talks. Many coaches are disrespected ditched after a few wins. What do you think of Sasha Bajin on the women's circuit? Disrespected, ditched after a few wins. Oh. Thanks, Bert. Do you mean Sasha? Is that the hitting partner who was on the Williams team? I didn't follow much. I just saw a few times. Actually, when I was with Jankovic, I saw him play with Serena. That's how I find out about him. And then I think he moved on later to, he was coaching Osaka or some of the players. I don't know exactly. My ranking is 0 at the moment. I was 1,250 something when I played, but never played really enough tournaments. Okay, we have some spamming here. I would kindly ask you, if you want to interact, be nice and polite, guys. What strings do you play with and how many hours do you get on them? Do you try to... So we're getting into different questions. Again, let's bring it back to this talent and players and coaches. This is still the topic we're talking about. I want to move on to the third one, but I see a lot of different questions here again. So I will not answer. If I answer one of your questions, then the others might not be feeling fair. Is there a spiritual foundation, not just a tennis foundation? Of course, always. He didn't play. How much tennis? Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about your racket? No. Do you have players? Do you think that some players need to hire mental therapists alongside their coaches? Seems like some people weak mentally keeps them away from greatness. Thanks, Victor. That's a great question and topic related to what we're discussing here. It will be hard to say no, because I believe it's probably the most important part of the game, especially as you move to the higher levels. So I wouldn't be surprised. And maybe you would not call them mental therapists, but definitely somebody who can talk about that side and guide them and give them some advice, not just advice, but also specific things that can be done in certain points, in certain moments, in matches, how to make that switch. I'm sure, like top guys, for sure, every single one of them have a person on the team who is talking about this. Maybe not at this stage, or at some stage they had it for sure. Ball, okay. Spiritual, yeah, that sounds good. Spiritual foundation solves mental discipline issue. What camera is GoPro? Yeah. How much is playing during the effect level? Okay, this is interesting. How much does playing during your junior days affect your level of becoming coach? I think there is a good influence. There is a good connection between the two. It definitely helps you understand much better the process. I think you can. It's easier for you to talk from the player's perspective and to understand, have the empathy for everything they're going through. And I think it's easier to find a common language and to get that chemistry, although it's not necessary. And you could see many cases like that. The first one that's on my mind is Stefanos Tsitsipas. And well, this is only if you mean, junior days, if that means that you're playing like kind of actively and professionally. I talked to Stefanos' father, Apostolos Tsitsipas, because I saw him, how he feeds the ball, how he holds the racket, and even did some like shadow swings on the serves. So I thought this guy for sure played, back in the days. Then I asked him, what was your level? You must have been very good. No, I never competed. like never. Just played like this, like for fun. So he didn't play, he didn't compete, and he's still like he's the main coach of Stefanos, and he's the one who is responsible for his success the most, I would say. Do you offer classes for coaches to learn more about coaching experience? I don't offer any classes. I don't like to phrase it this way. I always like to give advice and to help. And we have many ideas for the future, to use this internet thing. It's so good to connect everyone and to share the knowledge. We'll see what can happen, but it's a great idea to share the advice not just to players but also to coaches, and it's something worth of thinking about. I'd say a lot. Some issues you can teach players how to deal with their opponents. Yeah, if you think that Federer is going for Joker, okay, Joker, we fall forward. Learning how to deal with losses helps strengthens the mind. See you in French Open if you come. I will love to. Still waiting for their response. They actually replied first. They said they are still building up the team for hitters, but they said they will let me know in February. So I'm checking the emails every day. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I will check that. You're very welcome, Steve. It was a pleasure. Thanks for a great question. What a good tactic if your opponent is really good deep shot. Okay, some tactical questions. Live stream, real live content. Thanks. Okay, to go back to topics. Name our top players. Okay. This maybe undergoing military training can help. That's good. It's more for discipline, but also I guess that you become so strong and then confidence can transfer to the court. One of the challenge things coaching is getting players to transition what they learn in training over to the matches. Definitely, that's a great way to say it. I agree 100%. And this has been challenge for myself as well, and I've been really working hard on that and trying to learn from others and talk to many people. That's the real challenge. You put it very well. One thing is to do it on the training, the other thing is to be able to do it in a match. I noticed in my case many times in matches I play different shots, and I always think, come on, this is just like a regular forehand from the baseline. And then I think the other day we rallied like 100 shots, could not miss, and now it's like half frame or it's short ball, or it's all about the mental approach. And I've been getting into it, and I hope I will master it. So I will also know exactly how to explain and how to talk about it. But I believe the right mindset is to go out there and to have fun and not to worry about missing balls. Literally just hit it. Don't think about it. And just to add here what I learned from one of the books I read, and this is from Tim Grover. How do you pronounce? He was the mentor of Kobe Bryant, and yeah, it's a very sad story for Kobe. It's really unbelievable. But what this guy said, and he shared this advice he gave to Kobe before one of the games. He said, because Kobe was feeling pressure and it was a bit important game. So Tim said, just try not to score. Play, have fun, and think about not scoring. Try not to score. And then Kobe scored 81 points. I think that was his record game. This is what he said in the book, but it's a very interesting concept. It's the same as when you're returning, they hit out, they hit long, and then you just blast the return, like the best return ever. It's because you didn't care if you're going to miss. Like, you didn't try to hit the court with that return. So that's the same. I just want to let you know how much. Thank you so much, Mason. So much. That's great. That makes me start personal connection with you. So great. So nice to hear that. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Often feel my feet stuck in the mud or heavy feet when playing people that it's faster than me anyway. Well, I thought you were going to say like, get stuck in the mud when it's big moment where it's like a very like pressure situation. This tends to happen. You kind of freeze your feet gets frozen. This is what happens to me sometimes. But the feet is something that you should be able to control anytime. But your case is different. You say the faster balls. Anyway, to train for this. Well, try to train with somebody who can hit faster. And this means that maybe you need to work on your explosiveness. Maybe try to do a bit weights with heavier weights, less reps, and do the legs. Try to get a bit more strength there, and then do some of the jumps. We have some videos for like explosiveness. You can do box jumps, and work on the explosiveness. And then just think about it. It's your body, your legs, your feet. You control it, so you can do whatever you want with that. Benefit in your life, in what ways that improvement is like? And then that's a nice question. It's a little bit off track from today's topics, but yeah, tennis is unbelievable. If you give everything to tennis will give you everything. Like literally, you will see the world. You will meet people from all over the world. You will have this amazing emotions, ups and downs. You will smile, you will laugh, you will cry, like so many times. Like, you will become a hard worker. Like you will understand how the discipline and hard work pays off. But still, you will also get disappointed many times that you will feel it's not fair, when you put everything there, and sometimes it's not happening as you dreamed of. But definitely you get so much. You can get education, you can get scholarship, go to US, so many things. All right. Wow, that was tough. How is tennis? Okay, I'm planning to volunteer as a tennis coach in Africa. What do you think? Wow, that's amazing. I just think that's just like great. That's something that not many people would do, and if you do it, definitely you gotta share it. It's something that very special, very special. How do you deal with emotional junior player? Tough question. Yeah. One of the things that's important when you're guiding these players, juniors, and they have this, they're getting in this period, adolescence and strong characters building, and they think they're the man. I think you really need to kind of become a bit quiet first. Listen. You need to let them talk, maybe sit down with them, let them tell you anything they can. Talk with them, hear what they think, what are their problems. You don't need to ask them what are you like insecure of, or just let them talk, and you will maybe feel and find something that maybe it can help to guide them in a like more sophisticated way, not being too harsh. It's never good. So I think you should always listen first. I'm in high school and play good in practice. I get tight nervous. Yeah, we mentioned, we talked about it. Try to have fun. Just go there and have fun, Ronnie. Go there, have fun. Don't think about the outcome. Don't think about what's going on. Just think about the sport and play, what they say, like each point separately. But I would say that the best advice maybe here, and we talked about it, is play like you don't care. Play like it doesn't matter if you miss or not. Literally, you need to put this mindset, like engrave it somewhere here. Like you need to think this, and talk to yourself like this. Maybe days prior to these trainings, like just have fun. I will have fun, and I don't care. Doesn't mean you're gonna start blasting the balls everywhere, like outside of the court, but literally, like, play for fun. Don't play to get tight. Play for fun, and play like it's not a big deal if you miss or if you lose, which it's not. So I think that's the best advice I can give you from this kind of standpoint and perspective. Hello for France. What's up? Great to see some self-criticism in the video from a good player like you. Thanks, Renan. I'm glad you like it. It's always good. Reflecting and, being self-aware and sharing, helping others, it's the best. Did you ever main a one-handed backhand? You mean, like, did I ever play it? I tried for a couple days. It was fun, but it stopped. I stopped it when I started to play some points and like a match. I know it takes time, but it just felt too difficult for me, like to make that transition and take like months of kind of feeling uncomfortable. Yeah, it's a good question. It's always what you wonder. Should I be playing? Should I have started one-hander? Make really good content. Thanks so much. Appreciate. Problem in today's generation is that people are afraid to make mistakes. Exactly. Play each point separate and learn to let things go. Just have fun. Good. Analysis by paralysis by analysis. Whoa, it's analysis by paralysis by analysis. How many club players focus on the different things on how to hit while the ball is still moving through the air? Yep. Exactly. The more you think, the more confused you are, and the more mistakes you'll make. So less thinking. How many hours of playtime? Okay. I think now, right here. Thanks, Michael, for jumping in. For Novak, he just mentioned Djokovic, and this will be our third topic. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, for some of you who maybe just joined or you didn't hear what we mentioned in the beginning, we covered two topics so far. The one is Nick Bollettieri talk and speech, and the concept of having, is it enough to just give your best and put all the effort, or you need to have mindset of going out there to win. So talked about that. I'm saying this because after this video is done, it will be there as a regular video. You can always rewatch it, so you can go to the beginning. I might put like a timestamps so you can go to each topic, because we also cover different questions. And the second question was relationship between a good coach and the good player, or decent coach and a great player. So what matters the most? Is it more important to have the best coach in the world or the most talented player? And I think that the most people, what we kind of made the conclusion was that it's more important to have the great coach with a lot of experience who can actually guide the player. So the talented in a player, yes, it's important, but as somebody wrote, like 5%. So it's a very small percentage, and it's more about work ethic and having the guidance. Okay, and now the third topic, very interesting one. Novak Djokovic, his childhood, some juniors days, when I also played against him and played with him and trained, and also the success he made. And I want to compare that whole story, not just with mine, but also with stories of thousands of players around the world for in the past decade or so, or 2 decades. And I think this is something also worth of talking. The same age, and I think I'm a little older when I was growing up. How you pronounce? My coach says he played him once, and he told him correctly. It was Djokovic. Novak is the king. How do you pronounce it? It's Djokovic. Djokovic. Novak Djokovic. And we call him Nole. Okay, so I also watched the other day interview of Djokovic's father, and he was being asked some questions after Nole's win at the Australian Open. And then I also saw some other videos, and I also watched them. And basically, his father was telling a story of how they lived in the early years of Novak's career when he was still like very young player from the beginning, and then as a junior, how much they all had to put in, how much effort, how much sacrifices, and basically they had to give everything for Novak. So the whole family was feeling that. I think they even had to borrow money at some point so that Novak can train in academies. He was training it in at Nicky Pilic Academy in Germany, I believe, which costs, everything costs. And yeah, it's a story that I would like to talk about because I relate to it. I don't want to say 100% because in my case, my family, we didn't take that extreme step to really give everything. But from my point, I gave everything I could. I spent every free hour on tennis or on fitness or on something to work on, to develop and to improve that could give me a bigger chance to maybe become a professional player, which was always my dream. So, and I know so many players who also sacrifice so much, who live tennis for years, and whose parents invested so much, not just financially, but also time-wise and effort-wise, and all those travels. And so the question is, if you give everything and you even get the whole team around you and put so much effort, sacrifice the whole teenage years and all this, are you guaranteed you're going to succeed? Absolutely not. And this is a tough truth, something that should be talked more about in tennis world. And as I mentioned, for all those ambitious parents and coaches, maybe who didn't have that many experiences, how difficult it is to build a player, or if you're a player, to become one of the best in the world, or at least in the top 100. It's a very tough sport, and it's a road that it's kind of not in your control. No matter what you do, no matter how you want it, no matter how much effort you put in, you or the people around you, it's still not guaranteed. It's literally like a huge gamble, like putting everything, going in casino and put everything on black or something. It's not guaranteed. It's super difficult. And the question is, when these top players, they tell you the stories or you hear the stories about them, is this a right way to inspire all the others, like who are just starting and the youngest players, when you hear about all the struggles and the effort put, and then so you think, okay, this is the way, and then you decide, I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna give everything, and the whole family lives tennis with you, everything is dedicated just for you, and in the end you might not become not even a top 200, 300. I know many players. know many players who gave up not just their time and their parents' money and all this. They gave up education, they gave up friendships, everything, and they didn't make to become top 200 or top 300, which means they're not able to live from tennis as being a professional player. So it's very harsh, true. And this is why I was kind of inspired to talk about this after this interview from Novak's father, who talked about the difficulty of the early years and all the things he did, which made it possible for him to become what he is today. So I kind of want to give you this idea and this what's in my mind. It's, let's say you have 10,000 players in past decade, or who gave everything, literally everything. I'm sure there is. Probably the number is higher, because every year the ATP ranking list includes more than 2,000, like 2,500 now players, where many of the players towards the end of the list, they have the same number, they have the same ranking, so that means there are more players. But even so, of course, some years it's the same players on the list. Let's say 10,000 players. All of them, they give all this hard work, they put everything extra, and then at the end of their careers, whatever they are, like top player or average or even quit. But let's say those who succeed, and they tell you the story. This is how I became what I became. I put all this effort. I sacrificed all my childhood, and then here I am. The effort was worthwhile. I made it. So if you want to become here, it's possible. You can have your dream. You just need to give everything, right? So because only these top guys, they have the exposure so that all of you can hear them, right? So you can hear only those guys. What about those average players, or those who like didn't even make like rankings? Do you know how many thousands of players around the world are trying to get ranked? They cannot even get ranked, ATP ranked. And all of them, I guarantee, are trying so hard. All of them, they train 6-7 hours every day, 8 hours every single day for years. They invest, I don't know, I heard that the cost of like 1 year training, like for this futures player who is paying for all these trainings and traveling, it's more than 100,000 euros or dollars per year. So it's just also the investment, and then the time, everything, right? But you hear only the top guys, and then you think, okay, so that's the secret, that's the recipe. But this is just like 0.01% of people who made it. So you have all the others who did all these things. And then if you pick any of those, like let's say average players, let's say one of them succeeds, and they will pretty much say the same story, like I sacrificed this, I sacrificed this. So in the end, it's like it's not about that. So this is the point of this. I want to get my thoughts out, and so you can understand the main point. It's not about all this sacrifice and all this effort. It's about either you have this something, the X factor, or you have this, you're just born. You're born to become the top player, or you're born to become the best ever, or you have this talent. This is how I see it. It's kind of disappointing, because this is only from the inside, like what I've seen, everything around me and all the people I know, and how much effort is needed for these things. It's kind of harsh, true. You only see the top guys, and you hear their stories. You think that's the thing, but you don't see. It's like iceberg, right? You only see on the top, a small part here, right? but you don't see everything what's below. It's all this thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of people in the past decade, 2 decades, 3 decades who never became anything they dreamed of. It's because they didn't have something there. Now again, we go back to this topic, the second one. Had they had maybe the perfect coach at that time, like the perfect mentor to give them that one advice, maybe it will be enough. So I'm just also at the same time I'm thinking here out loud. So trying to figure out what's actually the most important. So in the end, it's like I said, it's X factor, but it also could be that one of these average players, like we mentioned, if they had a perfect coach at the perfect timing, let's say it was a tournament like challenger, the first challenger they played third round against the seeded player, and if this coach in the locker room before the match told them this one thing, one sentence, maybe this happened. Maybe they just realized, I can do it. I don't care he's like 250 in the world and I'm ranked 1000. I don't care. It's just a number. And then, but the coach needs to know what to say, something. And then I read it in one of the book. Doesn't matter. Maybe it was from Tim Grover, like Relentless, the book. He said his goal with these top athletes, he was also working with Kobe Bryant and some of the other top NBA players. He said his goal was just to make them, he was not like finding the buttons to push. He was letting the players find the buttons and he would just help them to kind of push that button. And so this is the key. I think if that happened in my example, in one of those tournaments, let's say it's a challenger, it's the last round of qualifying draw, first seed of qualies, and you get that moment, you go out there and you win in straight sets, you qualify for main draw, you reach the finals. You reach the final, like at your first challenger, like that close. I'm sure there were so many cases in the world where players were at this point, they were doing all the things, everything was good behind, right? All the trainings, the fitness, they were ready, they were doing all the sacrifice, they were living tennis, and then they were missing that small thing, that small part, that one advice maybe, or maybe 1 hour of talk during the tournament or between the tournaments. And many of them never had that. But then you have these top guys, maybe they're there because they had those moments. Maybe they're there because they have this X factor, they're born as a champions. But I think all this has to come together. Whew. I really got into it. I didn't check here now what you were writing. I hope this was a kind of engaging, for me at least. It was. Obviously I was playing professionally. I still am kind of, I'm trying, but you see how tough it is to go out there and make that breakthrough. You need to have that click, you need to have that something, X factor, you need to have that mentor, that somebody can make you push that button. Okay. Often feel my stuck. I will now go a little bit to check what some of you were saying. Just have some patience here. Bear with me. Wow, it's already 1 hour 20 minutes. Wow, so long. I will try to make it short now. So, okay, this one answered. France, Armenia. Okay. We're about to. Okay. How many players know how to fix a stroke when it breaks down instead of repeatedly trying the same stroke and it keeps breaking down? Good one. Not related to the topic, but maybe it's like that mental thing and the ability to stay composed and just go back to basics. I'm sure Novak got a full scholarship to the academy like Monica's. I don't think so. Based on the story, I heard that they had to sell their apartments or they have some restaurant. They were renting an apartment and literally surviving. So I like to the live session first organize. Thanks so much, Ferdinand. I hope you got this last part. I think it was gold. Hope it was useful for you. Maybe you got something that you needed. What strengths do you think Novak has that has enabled him to become one of the best tennis players of all time? It's skipping, guys. I need to slow down here. What strengths Novak has to enable him to become the greatest of all time? Like we talked about, he has all these small ingredients came together. He's definitely super talented. He's super dedicated. He had a great team, great guidance. He has the X factor. He can play the biggest the biggest points, the best. So everything came together. Then the outborn sales graph isn't the norm. Nothing. 6% battery. Guys, the laptop will slowly die. I need to just plug in. Just 1 second. All right, just bear with me. Literally 10 seconds. I need to answer these questions here. All right. Apologize. So maybe this was not so professional, but you will forgive me. Hope so. Okay. Nothing is promised. At least give it all so you don't have any regrets. Exactly, like that. How do you see the fact that 3 very good top players have one hand back in like spots? It's just, yeah, maybe the tennis is evolving a bit since it's becoming a bit faster. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Who knows? Because as it's becoming faster, we have this bigger servers. It's tougher to return those serves with one hander. It's easier with 2 hands. What do you think that next gen lacks to be the big 3? Experience. Personally, why haven't you thought on moving to university tennis? I did the opposite decision. Was top of my country and decided to go to uni in my country, not playing at all. Why haven't you thought on moving to university tennis? I did. I played college tennis in US. I got my degree there in design, industrial design, and I moved on to get the master's degree in UK in finance. So I played tennis the whole time, every day, as I got my degrees, 2 degrees. What's your racket? Okay, different. How do you recommend knee injuries? I'm really not expert in this. I suggest you talk to some experts, some physios. I really cannot give advice, and we're having other topics. I hope you solve it. You gotta take care of it. Of course, first being healthy and safe. Tennis is such a hard sport, and I think it's because it takes so much mental fortitude, sacrifice in life as a source of income too, from a financial standpoint. Yeah. Definitely. It's very tough from any side. No far comes across as jerk. Yeah, I would not phrase it that way. It's just like, but I feel you. And in this talk that I listened, you know what he said? They invited him because Nole won the Australian Open. And then they asked him if and when do you think Novak can reach Federer in terms of Grand Slam titles? So, as you know, Novak has now 17 and Roger has 20. So his father said, well, it will happen this year. So we will have this talk in August, end of August, September. And then Novak will win 3 more Grand Slam titles, and then he will surpass Roger in January when he wins the next Australian Open. So that will be his 21st. I see Novak a little bit differently than his father. At least he's not talking like this. Maybe he has it's the mentality. Maybe this is that winning mentality that we mentioned from the beginning, that Nick talked about. If you just try your best, if your mentality is like, okay, I will go out there and just give my best, instead of I will go there to win, maybe you cannot achieve big things. So in that terms, I think it's not that bad, but it kind of comes across, as you said, like, but it's just the mentality. Like, and Novak chose not to show it so much, even though some people see him a bit arrogant, or some players said that he changed after this big success. I still think that he's just amazingly like grounded and humble, like considering this amazing success he made. So he's not showing that. He's showing through his matches and through his wins and tournaments. He's not gonna talk. Of course, his father is not playing, so the only way he can do is talk. But it's matching. I mean, what his father is talking, actually, it's matching Novak's results so far. And I actually remember. So just to tell you this little thing, it's somebody. I had a good conversation with a person who spent some time with the whole Djokovic family. I think it was some tournament, and he spent some time with Novak's father. So they talked, and my friend asked him, "What is Novak's motivation right now?" And this was a few years back, but still, Novak was, I think, at that period also number one, and maybe it's after he had this long streak of wins. It literally seemed unbeatable, right? And he won all the big tournaments. So what's his motivation now? He won basically everything, and he's achieved so much. He doesn't even need to play anymore, and he can live like a king. And he said, Novak's father said, it's becoming the greatest ever, becoming the best tennis player in history. So it makes sense. I believe those top guys there, they don't care anymore about numbers and this prize monies and all this, the fame. I think they go for the legacy and like becoming the best ever. I also play juniors, and I think the constant ice and heat works best. Oh, okay, for medical. I used to operate as linesman at the China tournament in my club. I saw some players over the years still struggling ranking. Yeah, exactly. Great. I mean, I have a friend used to be professional badminton player in Denmark. It's even tougher sport for players to be financially self-sufficient. Wow, I didn't know about that. I would never think of like badminton is like also so financially demanding, but I see it after playing or just okay. How says things like Novak is going to win Canada Slam and destroy all records, you think, but then say, yeah, I agree. But again, Novak is not saying, he's showing it through his game. Best just whenever. Just okay. Okay, still about me. How did that happen? Richard Williams said it about Venus Serena, but he was crazy to say his daughter will become number one. Yeah, that was insane. But again, so here, let's say he said this. What we don't know is thousands of others, like let's say when they're average or they're like rising in their level, raising, maybe at those points, like thousands of other parents said, okay, he will become number one, or I will be, or the players who were like interviewed at their junior age, I will become, my dream is to become number one. So we never heard thousands of those, and we only hear the ones now who are there. Of course, we will hear some players in club never think of changing serve when they double fault, but keep hitting the same serve and keep hitting the same faults. Okay, I like to say I know, but I really just like. Okay, still about icing. Perfect coach to get the next level. FAA. As you experience in the challenges playing players face, I was wondering, what does success mean to you? In my opinion, our mindset is the main thing that determines our success. Exactly. It's everything is very individual and personal, and I think we should all have our dreams, or one dream, and we should definitely go for it. We should give everything we have, not being afraid, not being like, not not doing it to prove somebody or something. We do it for ourselves, and as long as we can enjoy the whole thing, like the the period of, or the process, the time that you spend, that you want to achieve that dream. I think that this is the key. And then at the end, maybe that dream will, it will not be the same. Like after a while, you realize, okay, maybe this is not exactly what I want, but it will be connected or related to that. So you should be flexible to navigate on that way. Let's say this here, you can see this lamp behind, it's my goal, and then I want to, and then maybe I need to navigate. Maybe it's not going to become there. Maybe my goal or dream will become here. So then I will just navigate this, but I enjoy the process. And for me, yeah, it's exactly this. The success is being happy, enjoying the process, and finding and learning different things, and feeling the drive, feeling the energy, and getting inspired. You just have to find your own thing. I think that's the key, being yourself, not trying to fit some mold or follow some stereotypes. You be yourself, and never give up on your dreams. Again, being flexible, and maybe the dreams will evolve. So Boris Becker, Bernberg, and Matt Wallin, the Grand Slam champions as teenagers. Hey, what's up, Uruguay? How's everything there? It's summer, right? Must be super hot. Give us some like sunny vibes. I'm a situation where I have to beat a team or players that are much more skilled than me. What are the things you think I could do to beat a more skilled player? Kyle. Thanks, Kyle. Great question. It's tough to give you some very reliable advice, but maybe what can help you is you can get a book, Winning Ugly. I think it's by Brad Gilbert. And definitely you can also see it happens at the pro level, where some players who don't have the perfect technique, or definitely they're lacking some skills, they're able to beat some players who are, who mastered every shot perfectly. And it all, again, comes down to mentality and the mental strength you have, and finding ways how you can put them off. I don't want to give you advice to do some tricks or some things like taking more time between the points or trying to change their rhythm, but definitely you cannot rely on skills. So you need to find any other way. I would say during the points or the games itself, you try to play some unorthodox shots to break their rhythm. That's the most like kind of tangible thing I can tell you, like specific thing. Otherwise, you need to believe it. You need to kind of accept it in your mind. Okay, they're better, but doesn't mean that I cannot beat them. So it's there. You respond to your Instagram DMs. Yeah, for sure. I'm trying. Yeah, I do. How do you stay relaxed during a match? By having the mindset of having fun and not caring. How many hours of play time you require? Play time a week. Thanks, Hudson. Is a question not related really to the topic. I would say you need to play at least 3-4 times. If you're talking about some amateur level, I don't know if you talk about competitive, like higher level, then it has to be almost regular every day. On the amateur level, 3-4 times a week for 1.5 hours. I think that would be good recipe. What is your advice for doing well in high school tryouts? I'm UTR 7 right now, but I want to know how to take the next step and reach UTR 10. Okay, first of all, you don't care about those numbers, okay? Don't be obsessed. What's your level now? You get obsessed with your game, with your strokes, with your fitness. So try to work from the basics. First, I would say fitness first. Like I would say you need to get fit. If you're in a good shape, if you're able to allow your body to attempt to master those perfect shots, forehand, backhand serves, you need to be flexible for all those. So make sure you're fit enough, and then work on your techniques. And for the tryout, definitely I relate this question to playing under pressure. Again, don't think about the reason why there, or the outcome or the result. You just think about it. I'm here to have fun. That's the best way to approach it. Is your career teaching in the club in China? Nope. That's just part of it, a small, tiny part of it. And I think in near future it will be changed. I think there will be some changes, and hopefully you can make some next steps. I have so many ideas, and very excited about the future. I know a friend close to my area who knows Djokovic and used to beat him in juniors all the time. I learned a lot from him when I used to take a couple lessons. That's great. Yeah, of course. This is the best if you can have interaction with a person like that. What are requirements to become a hitting partner at pro tournaments? That's a good question. We also made videos on these questions. I got asked a lot. So we made some kind of interviews. You can check on the YouTube you can type on YouTube. You can type TENFITMEN interview. And it will pop up a couple of videos, and one of them I talked about how everything happened in my case. But in general, I think you really need to be at a good level. I don't know the numbers, like you need to have some ranking or rating or whatever. You need to be at a good level, and you need to be super passionate and fit. People need to see and feel it. And if you do all this, it's usually voluntary. So you need to be obsessed. And all right. So I think I will close up soon, because I had now disconnected this VPN. Last time it happened, I wasn't able to get any more messages on the live chat. I don't know if now this is the case, but I will still reply to last few questions. Novak's dad borrowed money from the wrong people. He was kidnapped, placed in a truck. I don't know about this one. Fortunately, I was good enough to pay back the loan. Serbian gangster don't play. Wow. I don't know. Hi, Milan. Cheers for Chile. I want to know your or in general Europeans see. Okay. Latin Americans players, so South America. I really like basically in general all the people from South America. They all come across as very friendly, very open, humble, and kind of into sports, and with a good talent, good physiques as well, like playing kind of physical tennis. And of course, one of my favorite players ever is Gustavo Kuerten, and from Brazil, of course, but also other players from like Argentina, Nalbandian. Then we had Korea from Argentina. So I think they're like, they have a lot of talent, and it's like a sport nations. Yeah, I think all the best. Thoughts on Dominic Thiem? Extremely hard worker. Okay, decent talent, but mostly hard worker and good mindset. I think he has the ability to play big at big moments, and he has the ability to definitely win a Grand Slam. I mean, he played so far three Grand Slam finals. So definitely will happen soon. He will be potentially number one at some point. So after this big three, or during some of them, it's a big chance. Good morning from Israel. Sup. Good night from Texas. Have sweet dreams. Team back and let him down. Yeah. Sliding from yours. Sliding. Could not do the tip one. It's difficult to start sliding. Wait. The tip one was get physically ready. How do you mean you didn't do the tip one? Tip one is that, you have to put some time into, building the strength of your legs and getting the flexibility. Or maybe you thought about tip two, which is kind of, no, tip two was braces and doing the clay court, maybe the tip three. It's where I start pushing the leg off. Yeah, maybe it's the ground, the surface. If it's too rough, and also the shoes, the bottom of the shoes, you need to find a way how to do it. Maybe find other court during the 90% under global sanction. When you're making mechanical change, how do you manage that? That's very tough during the match, Greg. I understand the question. It's very difficult. I think you should definitely master it off the court. First, it needs to become automatic. If you have any thoughts about technique during the match, it's very tough to play your best and to kind of focus on the game. You start thinking about the strokes, the techniques, the mechanics, then it's not a good place to be. When will you go bald? Why is this question so random? I hope never. I don't know. That story about Novak father sounds like the movie of those guys who were selling weapons for war in Iraq. I don't know. Is it bad that I play worse against slow players and play better? It's not bad. It happens too often. Thanks for question. I think the solution is to try to put yourself in place or in the zone where you really don't care who is on the other side. You care about what's happening on your side of the court. You focus on the things you can control, and that's number one, your footwork and your positioning, having the balance and the control of your body, and making the smart decisions of your choice. Very simple. ITF, I'm starting ITF soon. Any tips? Go out there, have fun, and don't care about points, rankings, numbers. Just have fun. Don't care if you make mistakes or if you lose. That's it. Do you think Noah will get to 20 Grand Slams? 100%. How to be cool kid. Okay, I see there is no more questions on the chat. This is because it was disconnected. I had this last time, so it's good. Maybe it's a sign. It was enough. 1 hour, 43 minutes live stream. Probably a record. And I really enjoyed. It was so much fun. Many questions in the chat. Thank you so much for joining. I had a blast. I hope you all also enjoyed it and had fun. I hope I answered most of your questions. I know in the beginning there was some I didn't answer. Maybe later I can check. But definitely amazing experience. Again, I will do this regularly. I still need to figure out what's the good timing. I feel this was decent time. And thank you again so much. And I will wrap up this live stream. We covered those 3 topics and answered so many questions. I'm very happy about it. And yeah, I will see you very soon in our next live stream. Have fun, always on the court, as we talked about. Don't be too critical to yourself. Accept the mistakes, learn from your losses. Just have fun, and yeah, definitely keep your dreams alive. Go for them. See ya.